So this story is one of my favorite stories.
Vicky, be my bodyguard.
Listen, one of my favorite stories. And there are many stories like this, but I'll give you two examples. This is this boy who was born in a very poor family. Jay, can you sit up? He was born in a very poor family. Lot of times he was hungry, not enough food, not enough clothes. Very poor person. Very ordinary place to live. His father was a blacksmith. You know what is a blacksmith?
I brought from Paris.
You know what is a blacksmith? A blacksmith is a guy who repairs things made of iron, who makes things out of iron, like something is broken, he will come tuck 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 tuck. He puts some heat to make the iron soft, and he make tuck 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 to make it smooth, and he makes some simple tools like something you dig with, something you dig with, sword, something you. So he will take piece of metal, he will put in fire, it gets softer and softer, take it out, tuck, 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 make it a little longer, make it more longer, make it this way, that way, knife, sword, other tools that people in long time ago would use to live. Okay? So it's called a blacksmith. And lot of times his dad was sick. Lot of times his dad was sick. So he couldn't even work to make money to support his family. So this young boy, when he was like a teenager, he had to find some place he can work and get paid. So he went to a local printing press where they used to print books and newspapers. So he would deliver newspapers. Okay? And when they print the books, they have to bind it, right? At the crease, they have to bind it so that when you open the pages, they don't fall out, right? So he used to bind books and distribute newspaper. And all the books, famous people who wrote books, they come to this publisher, this printer, and this boy will read all the books that were printed there. He was so much interested in learning. Any other person will say, well, I don't understand this book. He'll just do the job, give it to a distribute newspaper, he won't read it. But he was reading everything in the printing press, all the news, all the books, he was reading it. Listen, he was reading everything. And he was paying more attention to if some scientist or a great scholar wrote a book, he said, oh, I've heard his name, what did he write? He would read his book while it is being printed or after printing. Okay? And he educated himself. He educated himself. The only thing he learned up to when he was a teenager, one time a week on Sundays, he used to go to learn to read and write. That's all the education he got, to read and write. So everything else he educated himself. Okay? And then one time he heard that one of the books he read, the writer of the book was a scientist. Okay? Very famous scientist in England. So he's going to give a lecture. So he went and to travel a long distance. He went there and listened to his lecture. He was taking notes. And after he finished speaking, the professor, he said, sir, these are the notes I made. Can you see if this is correct? If I understood anything you said. So the professor looks at, wow, this note is so great, it's even better than what I spoke. You understood everything. So he said, I will give you a job in my lab. Okay? A scientist had a lab where he do experiments and gases and chemicals and all these things. He said, can you help me in my lab? So he got a job as assistant to this great scientist. And while he was helping him, this boy started to do his own experiments. Hundreds of experiments he did. Many of the experiments failed. But he made a few wonderful discoveries. He became one of the great scientists. Hundreds of years later, I know his name.
What is his name?
And the whole world who is interested in science knows his name. His name was Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday was his name. And you hear, these are the kind of life stories that you read, it inspires you. So, when you find time, look for Michael Faraday life story. Okay?
How do you spell his
And
last name?
many discoveries in science, listen, many discoveries in science he made, and one of them is about electromagnetism.
Hey, we learned about that before about the
Electromagnetism. First, there were two different things, electricity and magnetism. Everybody knew that they are different things. But he showed them they are actually one. Electrical charge becomes magnetic, and magnetism produces electrical charge. Electromagnetism, one of the main discoveries in science, and we use it all the time, every day. A lot of stuff in our house is made of using electromagnetism. Okay? This is a small example. So what I want to show you is the way it is made. Okay, in a little dark you could see it. So these are electrical charge particles moving inside. Okay? And you can come closer. They are moving inside, right? Now my fingers have magnetism also and electrical charge also, right? And this is electric charge and it's flowing. So something in my finger that these things will get attracted to. So magnetism and electricity are joining. So just look. Abu, look. This electricity is trying to touch my fingertip. And if I put another fingertip, it will touch two or both of them. And another one. And another one. And another one. And listen, even if I don't touch it, see what happens. Just coming closer, which means the outside of my skin also affecting it, and it will change its movement. I'm not touching it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're not.
I'm not touching it. I mean, I touch it, of course.
What is that?
I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I still see it.
I'm not touching it, right?
Yeah, I see it.
Now, if it was dark, it would. Now, another thing. I put it on auto. So, right now it's off. But the sound I make has the energy. And it reacts to that.
Look.
The sound I make, look.
Ba ba ba.
It's catching it. You say something, especially sharp sound. No, lower, high pitch. Ooh. No. Okay, just watch this.
Go closer, Sam.
So, when you put this in front of a song that is playing, if you play a song and put this, it will start dancing because sound has different vibration. Right? Ta-ta-ta-ra-tam, ta-ta-ta-ta-ra-tam, ta-ra-ta-ta-tam, ta-ta-ta-ta-ra-tam. Ta-ra-ta-ra-tam. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Okay.